Also, Mars, and in this case, which is our sense of how we take action. Okay, Mars in this case is in the sign of Cancer. Mars in any water sign like Cancer or Pisces or Scorpio is not a very direct way of taking action. This is a person, and I have Mars in water myself as well, not someone that can take action directly all that easily. Taking action usually has to be done in more subtle ways. So passive aggressivism is more of a way that things can be approached. And there's also, this goes along with that sense of fear of being rejected for our expression. We don't want to directly express ourselves for fear of that rejection. So there is a sense of going underneath and approaching things in a softer way. Okay, and that Mars is also in a square to Pluto. And when in the email that I read where it said, I feel like I'm a repressed artist, this right here, this one aspect here jumps out at me as this sense of repressed expression with Pluto squaring Mars. Pluto is that, again, planet of control and power. And when that's in a square to how we take action, that Mars, this creates that imbalance, that sense of action has to be either repressed or explode out uncontrolled in all sense of the word. So here's someone that will be totally controlled and everything's under the radar. And then explosions occur that people are just like, wow, where did that come from? I did not see that coming. She's always very calm and she approaches things calmly and softly, and she exploded here. She, might have said something inappropriately that came out of nowhere. No one knew she was experiencing some kind of sense of not being treated right or whatnot. But that's the problem here. There is a sense of repression, and so this will translate, especially when it comes to the career and how we take action, as a sense of repressing yourself, keeping yourself under wraps, and ongoing with that theme of repression right now. That same area of the chart that we talked about for relationships, that Venus, right, at 0 degrees Libra, well, there's also Mars that we just talked about at about 2 degrees Cancer. And so those are technically in about a square to each other. And so that Venus, Mars are in a square. That also would suggest someone that's very creative, but in a frustrated way. So it's not easily expressed. Again, so it just enhances that theme. But the idea is that what's going on now, it's like we said before, Pluto started things out, and then Saturn came, and then Uranus and Jupiter are going to come and hit that part of the chart. So when we look at it in terms of Mars now, looking at it in the sense of how we take action, that creative expression, Pluto, 2009, 2010, so we're right in the middle of this kind of Pluto transit, is actually opposing Mars. And this can be a very, very intense experience of feeling, again, repressed. So this theme that's in her chart anyway, that Pluto squaring Mars, is activated right now. And there's a sense that that part of her that is repressed and then explosive and repressed and then explosive is really going strong right now. And the intent of this transit is to come to some retransformations of how we take action. So maybe being a little more direct if we haven't been, or if we're being too direct and too inappropriate, adjusting and so that we're more appropriate in some sense. So along with this Pluto transit, we have Saturn, which started about right around November of 2009 and into midsummer 2010, will be squaring Mars. So the same time that it's conjunct the Venus that we talked about for relationships, it'll be squaring Mars. It's a waxing square. It's the first square after the initial conjunction about 7 years ago. So back in 2003, right around that time frame, when Saturn was conjunct Mars, this was a time of feeling, from that creative side, again, feeling like, wanting to direct that creativity in some constructive form, but also feeling held back. Okay? And this time period, right now, while Saturn is squaring Mars, is a time to grow in that awareness. So whatever came into her awareness in 2003 with regards to self-expression and creativity needs to be addressed now. Needs to be addressed in terms of what, in what ways are we going to construct ourselves to take appropriate action. That's what it's about. It's about taking action directly when it's needed and learning how to be more appropriate in other situations and not exploding inappropriately. Okay? And so that part is there as well. And then Uranus will come in again, and Uranus and Jupiter will have their way, but that will take those won't come in until about 2011, so that's a little bit later. It doesn't come in like it does for Venus here in 2010, but so that'll be kind of on the horizon there in early 2011 when Uranus and Jupiter will come in and square that Mars from Aries, and so that will be that'll be a time to feeling like leaping forward with new projects or new beginnings and things like that. So when it comes to this self-expression as well, just like with relationships, both are really, really under some fire right now. So it makes a lot of sense that she would be experiencing some issues with this sense of being repressed as an artist and having power struggles in relationships, etc. Is because right now having that Venus and Mars in the early parts of cardinal signs puts them right under fire in that kind of configuration that's going on right now with Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, and then Jupiter coming up as well, that are all kind of hitting that zone. And so that's the kind of wrap here. So I guess I'll finish it up by saying that in terms of relationships and in terms of the personal creativity and expression, this is a time of getting things in order, really. It's also been a time the last couple of years of awareness, of bringing these things into conscious awareness about what needs to be transformed with regards to these things. And so that's been going on. Now it's time to get serious about it and really make some changes. And then in the next year to year and a half, starting this summer through right into 2011, this is more along the lines of a time of going forth with newness and ways of expressing yourself, or ways of experiencing relationships that are different than they have been in the past. And as long as we're conscious of what we're doing and we're evolving and we're making changes in our lives for the better, then these could be very, very positive things. So that's it for today for On the Spot with Maestro Chris. And again, if you're interested in your own On the Spot, you can contact me through www.myastrochrist.com. And you can also view this again at www.myastrochrist.blogspot.com. So, thanks again, and hope you enjoyed it.